about a minute or so. So put away your mind maps into your think tank, clear off your areas, and then bring your log, and also bring in all your stuff for Reader's Workshop. We're going to transition now from Writer's Workshop to Reader's Workshop. I'm going to go ahead and ring the bell, and then we're going to go for about a 30-second transition, and then we'll be ready. And we want to make sure we're ready to go.
I can get up.
Well, I'm so close to them.
I feel like I'm invading your space.
No, you're involved.
I know you were somebody else.
I love being.
Why are you doing this?
Don't worry about that. You'll need your reading logs, your reading book, you'll need your notebook and something to write with, and then we're going to be down the floor. Let's get chairs pushed in, and let's be ready to move into where we need to be.
Actually, I love that you're at the back of the room, but it's still that close up in front. I can see David inching up because he's afraid I'm going to sit in the back of the room and he doesn't like to sit by me.
You know, Ms. Cavanna, today they made really good choices about where they were sitting, and I've seen a lot of intensity, so I'd like to see that continue.
Yeah, I'll say that about this class. Once we say something, they really pay attention to it.
All right, and we're at that 10-second mark now. We want to get everyone where they need to be in 8, 7, 6. We're getting ready. I always think of dinner time when I hear the bell. I just love this bell. I found it this summer. It says ring a bell for reading. Oh, it says ring a bell for reading. I thought it said something else, and we're time for reading. Professional readers, we were just professional writers, and you were working on mind mapping, and I want to completely transition now into something that's a little bit more rigid, and this is called reading logs. Now, fortunately, a lot of you have had the opportunity now to use reading logs since almost the beginning of the school year, but today we're really going to hone in and talk about that. So you may have noticed that we've been strengthening our reading skills in the same way as an athlete builds muscles. We set goals and set routines. When an athlete wants to really get in shape, they're already being athletic. So, for example, with me, when I was in college, especially, I'd already been working out. I had been on basketball, and I had played soccer and football, and I'd been in some track and cross-country type stuff. So I was in fairly good shape, but it's when I got to college that I actually took this course in strength training and fitness, and I didn't fully understand what I was getting myself into until I started doing it. And even me feeling like I was in good shape, it was just ridiculous what kinds of things I was able to do after that. And when I say ridiculous, I mean in a positive way. I didn't realize that if I kept track of what I was doing and I set goals for myself like we talked about yesterday, that I would really be able to increase what I was doing. And so what I would do is I went around and I checked at what weight I was in for my push-ups and for my bench pressing, and I took a look at my individual muscle groups, and I looked at my legs, my quads, and I looked at all the different things I was doing. And it was really interesting. Our instructor said that the most important activity you can do also is push-ups and sit-ups. And I had not really heard that growing up.
Yeah, why is that?
What's that?
Yeah.
She is not here today.
She's not here today.
So that was something I didn't realize. So now when I do push-ups and sit-ups, it really does tone me much more than that. But I wasn't able to understand that until I started looking at the research that I was keeping of myself. Sometimes when we think about research, we think about going out and finding different items and things about other people, but this kind of research really helps us hone in on us. And it's a routine that we continue to follow. So today I want to teach you how to use a reading log. So let's turn and talk to our partner about a time you kept track of something that you were proud of. Whether it was like a scrapbook, or see some ideas that I have up here, sports and statistics. And why was that important to you? So think first, what was something that you kept track of that you were excited about? And maybe to help you out really quick, I used to keep track of the Packers. I mean, I still do, but when I was little, I used to keep track of them all the time. And I also used to keep track of my garbage pail kids, and they were these little cards that I collected. Do you remember garbage?
I totally remember Garbage Pail Kids.
And I would keep track of all of them, and I had a checklist, and I would keep track because you had to get twins. You had to get like Atom Bomb and Billy Boom.
The closest thing now would be like Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
But you know, when you said that, that made me think, oh, I gotta write that down because that's a story for later. Writing it down. So that's something you guys will want to keep track of later when you're writing, not your reading.
Let's turn and talk about what we have kept track of or something we're excited about. Go ahead.
If you're in an instrument or any kind of hobby, that's a good clue.
Lucas, what's something you kept track of?
Like when I was grade school, I kept track of my. Oh, do you want to know what I should? When I was in seventh, I was all in my family. Because I had to record every night 30 minutes of piano. 30 minutes of piano. That's what I teach you. And one time I keep track of it. Something you keep track of right now.
Did you ever collect?
Write down a record of what you have. Write things down and every day.
Well, that's good. All right, let's bring it back and let's hear about some things that some of you may have shared. Oh, remember when people are talking now and we're sharing, we're focused on them, we're listening to them, and then we're ready to listen, or we're ready to share, and we hope that they listen to us. So we're being really respectful of one another. Cassidy?
For some reason, I like keeping track of homework, and when I get it done, I'm really excited. For some reason, I don't know why.
That's a really good one, and that'll help you probably in the future with a lot of things that you're keeping track of.
I like to keep track of my soccer.
Of soccer and things? Okay, what kinds of, I hear that you're keeping track of soccer, but maybe for kids that don't play soccer, what kinds of things would you track?
Probably your grades or probably reading.
No, I'm talking about for soccer.
Oh.
Didn't you say you keep track of soccer?
Yeah.
So what kinds of things in soccer would you track? In case someone in here really didn't understand.
I would just make sure I was making every single practice because
Okay.
I haven't missed a practice in 7 years.
Alright, I wouldn't be able to say that. When I was playing sports, it's awesome. I wouldn't be able to tell you how many practices I didn't miss or I did miss, so that's good. Anybody else? Yeah.
I like to keep track of what I do after school. Like when I get home, like do my homework and eat a snack.
Okay.
I made a kid fantasy football, so I keep track of my phone. Nice. I like how everything is organized, so you're always clean and know where everything is.
Gotcha.
Do you keep a little list of it then, so you know what order it goes in, or what you got down versus like a to-do list almost?
Yeah.
That is really
Does
nice.
anybody here take band or orchestra? Do your teachers make you keep any kind of practice, or do you do one on your own?
Yeah, sure.
I know when I was younger, I had to keep track of my piano lessons. And I can't say that I always did that honestly, but I know that I had to keep records of it.
Mhm.
And I know that it was only important to me when I was honest about it.
What do you think about that, the honesty factor when you're keeping track of something for yourself? What do you think about that? Is that a good thumbs up for that one? When you lie on a statistic you're keeping for yourself, who are you really hurting? Like, think about that. You're keeping track of things that you're doing, and then you're lying about it. Who are you hurting? Talk about that a second. Turn and talk. Who are you hurting?
Yourself. Oh, and other people. Everybody else. But mainly yourself.
All right, let's bring it back in. I heard almost, and you probably heard this too, Ms. Cavani, you probably heard like, yourself. It was like almost like an echo. Yeah, of course, you're hurting yourself, and it sounded like there was a lot of good conversation, and it sounded like people went a little bit more into that. What I've put up here is actually a way to track ourselves when we're reading. Now everybody says, wow, Mr. Krill, we've never seen this before. Well, that's untrue, but we can pretend, so let's all look at it. Wow! No, but really, you've been keeping track of your logs since the beginning of the school year, but I am mentioning it now because it's quite important. When I first gave it to you, I said use it and try it. But now I've pointed out to you that keeping track of your reading is going to help with all the strategies and things that we're working on. Take a look at your log right now. Open it up. And I'm going to kind of come around, and you're going to kind of come around. And why don't we circle up like we've done so we can have a conversation about our reading log. So let's just kind of spread out, and we can do the 10-second deal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make sure you can see everybody. 7, 8, 9. All right, we're good. If you can, like I said earlier, if you can see everybody's eyes, then you know that we've made a pretty decent circle type of a situation. Up here on the board, I have information about our reading log, and it's keeping track of title and date and genre and level, and yada yada. Like whether you are at home or at school. But let's talk about our logs and what kinds of things we've seen so far this year that we've been doing.
You know, Mr. Krill, before we begin that, I was going to say, I hope that we all know it's okay to share whatever we have, because just like if you and I were both training and Jackson was training too, our training records would look very different about how many sit-ups we were doing or how many push-ups we were doing. We would do whatever was the best goal for ourselves. So.
I think that's a really good point. And also, we have started. Thank you for starting. What have you noticed?
Okay, well, I've noticed that whenever I keep track and then later at the end, I can see how much progress I've done, like through the book.
I love how Edward showed he's listening to you because his eyes are so focused on you. So I know he's listening.
When I realized that I'm mostly reading at home.
That's a really cool point, and I'm going to mention this too, that you're mentioning that we're looking at data. We're doing that in math class right now too.
That we don't check this, and so this is more for you.
I've noticed that the most that I read, and I'm really proud of it, is 40 minutes. Because I'm really into my book, even though I haven't finished in, sorry, 2 to 3 days. But I'm really into it, and I'm really liking it, and I'm sad that I'm almost done with it. But I've read a lot, and I usually read with my grandma every night, and she really likes the book too.
The most I've ever read, which I think I'm pretty proud of myself for that, and it's been like anywhere from 10 minutes minimally to 30 minutes maximally that night. I've read 4 times in just one night, and that was all at home.
And you can have evidence of that in your notes so you can see that those are the kind of strategies you're setting up for yourself. Or you're noticing patterns that take place with your reading. That's really good.
Yeah, some people think they have to read the 20 minutes in one part. They can separate it. They could be 5 minutes before they eat, when they're like setting the table. 5 minutes after, like before you eat dessert or something. And then you could do 10 minutes before you go to bed.
You know what I think is cool? Is I think I remembered you yesterday during our reading polls. You can tell me if I'm wrong. You said you didn't know when you were going to find time to read because you have so much soccer practice. And now I see that you found time. And then your friend next to you, and I'll just be spacing on your name for a second. Ben, I noticed that your goal was that you were going to keep track about twice a day, and I don't know if you did, but I noticed that you knew your reading log really well. So I'm really enjoying hearing people talk about their reading.
It is good.
And having a goal, and now your log it's helping you know if you're meeting that goal or not. And it reminded me of your sit-ups a little bit.
Yeah. Let's bring it back in. Let's slide it in a little bit. Now, I'd like you to practice filling in a reading log that you did today. Or going back and looking at your reading log and just filling in any gaps that you need to for that. Or spend some time looking at some of the data you've already collected and see if you notice any patterns. Now, when this slide was made, it said today I would like you to try doing your first log entry. Truly, we've already been using this. I wanted to give you guys a heads up start on it so that we were testing it in trial and seeing how well we're doing. And as I look around, I see that a lot of you have been doing a great job with it. Now we're actually putting it into action. So you're almost an expert at something that we're just really starting to technically look at today. Why don't you take 1 minute and use that time to fix up your log or fill in any gaps or look for patterns. Go ahead. Okay, well we'll do 1 minute in a second.
What if I'm moving?
So Kristen had a really good point. She was asking where the reading level is. I've marked a lot of the books in this room. On the last page in the bottom, it will give you your reading level. And we haven't talked about reading level so much yet this year. It's early. But that's something where you get the information from. So in her case, it's right on the bottom. Not all the books have it, but most of them do. About another minute or so. All right, let's bring it in. Let's turn and talk. Let's tell a neighbor what you notice about yourself as a reader after logging your entry. Were you reading fast and furiously, or were you struggling to get a few pages read? Remember, we want you to be in the zone to get like 30 or 40 pages read in 30 minutes. That's where we want to see you at. 30 or 40 pages in a 30-minute period of time, and we're going to have some time to work on that after. So let's turn and talk about what you notice about yourself. Go ahead.
Yeah, a lot of speed, yeah, a lot of words. Books, but it has a lot of vocabulary that I'm not familiar with. Like, I know a little bit about a lot of things, but I don't know a lot about words. So like, it's really technical terms. So like I can follow what I'm part of it. Like, I know it's so yeah. Also, like when people interrupt me too. My house is quiet.
Did anyone hear anything interesting that they wanted to share from one of their shared partners? Did anyone hear anything that was a really interesting thing? Go ahead.
Well, Ashley said that she read like 30 pages in 30 minutes, so it's pretty much read a minute per page.
Oh, that's good analysis, and that's in the zone. And how about you?
And then I heard that, what was it that? Oh yeah, she succeeded her goal for reading.
That's a good. We want to celebrate if people are meeting or succeeding their goals. I was able to uphold my goal again today in math. The last 15 minutes, I was able to read some of the Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats and Yum. So I'm continuing with that.
She read her books, all of her books in 2 to 3 days.
Nice.
So you're keeping on pace with what we're expecting right now.
I remembered in my log that I read for almost an hour. I don't know. But I just know I started at 9 o'clock last night and I kept reading and reading and reading.
Readers, today and every day, you're going to continue to log your reading. And this is just another strategy that's going to help build your reading life. For the next 25 to 30 minutes, I'd like you to find a quiet place to read. But we're going to continue reading and then make sure you continue your logging.
Dude, I dare you to do a move on me. Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. Stick your eye up to it.
And everyone should be in spot and find nice comfy, and we will begin.
This is just people reading